Long time no see, everyone. It's Arish, back behind the microphone after 2.5 years. Damn, has it really been that long? Today I'll be doing my daily resource pack warm up on camera, where I'll be doing the ender chest, the barrel, and the bookshelf. I'll provide some useful tips, and you'll get a first look into how I work. Without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the ender chest. Alright, first I'm gonna go into Minecraft skins, scroll all the way down. All I really need to do is do a standard chest model, because if you play Minecraft enough, you'd know that the ender chest does not have a double chest variant. Alright, enter that, and here's our first block bench. What I'm going to go ahead and do is upload the normal chest as a base. Here's a look at how the chest looks real quick. Alright, so I think I have an idea for how I want to do this, but I want to look at the original texture as some reference. One of my favorite details on the ender chest would be the tube in the center of the chest. It's almost like that's where it transports everything. Okay, yeah, I think I have an idea for what I'm going to do. I'm going to do something similar to the normal chest, but instead of the gold metal, I think I'm going to have like a purple tinted metal instead. Alright. Alright, for the palette, for what I use for the palette, I always start with the Resurrect 64 palette by Carrie Lake. You can go ahead and find a link to that in the description. Alright, what color looks most like an ender chest? Yeah, I think I like this one. Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to do a bright pinkish purple for the rim area. Because to me, dark green and purple to me scream end. So this is the vibe I'm going for this, and I think it's definitely going to stand out. One thing to note is that the colors in the palette should never be final. You always want to keep tweaking it. I always want to keep tweaking it to make sure that the color is perfect. How did that get there? One of the most important things to note is that using reference is not considered cheating. It does help to get a thorough idea of what you're going to do, as well as make it look more accurate. So I'm going to look at the chest, at how the Eye of Ender looks, to make sure that I get it accurate. I'm gonna go ahead and steal the gold for the handle. For a little matchy-matchy to see how it looks. You know, I'm not sure if I like that. Though the yellow provides nice contrast, personally I think that the green makes it feel a little more otherworldly, a little bit more alien, and that's part of the look I'm going for this under chest. So another tip, know exactly what you're going for When you're making it, know exactly what you're going for. For example, is it going to be whimsical? Is it going to be cozy? Is it going to look alien or scary? If you have that concept of a vibe in your head, then that can influence how the end product will look. Like, take the normal chest, for example. It looks all gold. It looks like it's supposed to be treasure. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and give it a trim. And give it a trim much like I did for the normal chest. And as for the insides, here's a pro tip. Never, ever use solid black when you're doing dark areas. That way, it'll just look washed out by the black color. If you're going for something, go for something like a very deep blue. That's to save all. Before I begin shading, I always tend to take one last look to make sure everything is how I want it, and to make some last adjustments before I go into it. Looking back from a distance always helps. Like, does it look good from far away? Because if it doesn't look good from far away, it may not look good close up either. Or vice versa. I keep looking at the normal chest as almost like a style guide, to make sure that they both look cohesive. I'm gonna add a darker hue. When it comes to shading, I usually use between 2 and 5 colors for a single color in the palette. Like for the purple, currently I have 4 now. Just gotta keep consistency and just keep on doing the textures. I need to try not to pause too much, but it still never hurts to pause, to take a good look. Step back, and make sure it looks cohesive. If you don't like it, change it. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and get that third highlight color in, or shadow color in. So it looks good, so I'm going to go ahead and start on the chest area. Unlike the normal chest where I went for a wood texture, This time I'm gonna go for something more stony. To give that stony feel, I'm gonna go for more desaturated shadows. Yeah, after looking at this for a moment, I decided that I'm not much of a fan of how that turns out. The main thing to note when texturing is to always consistently and constantly make tweaks. This usually gets to a part where I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, so I play around and wing it until I find something I like. This looks a little wood-like. Does this look unique? Yes. Does it fit? I'm not sure. Okay, so from what I noticed on the ender chest is that it looks metallic. So maybe I could try something like that. I kind of like that. So I'll go ahead and put some texture in. And just keep experimenting to see if I get something I like. Sometimes when placing textures, an accident happens where, oops, I put a pixel there, and somehow it still looks good. I actually really like when happy accidents like that happen. Dithering shadow, as I'd like to call it. It adds extra details, but it's not when it's right after the basic shading. You know, it's kind of funny how I keep forgetting to turn on the mirror paint. I'm just thinking like, ah! When I keep doing that. A piece of advice is to not use as much effort texturing the bottom. Since it's going to be barely seen anywhere in game, it's best to just do a simple texture under it and just be done with it. Nope, not ready to do that yet. Last step here before a final check would be to texture the insides. Okay, I think that looks a little bit cluttered. Okay, that doesn't have as much contrast as I'd like. And now that has a little too much contrast. Okay, once again, that looks a little too cluttered. And here's how it turned out. Boom, an ender chest. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick break, then I'll be right back at you to do the barrel next. And we're back. Next up, I'm gonna go ahead and do the barrel. While I'm creating a new spray, I'm gonna say that the barrel is actually 4 separate textures on one block. So instead of making 1 block, I'm pretty much making 4. To start with, I'm gonna pick a base color, something a little desaturated. Something like this, but a little more desaturated. I'm gonna look at how the barrel looks in game as a starter reference. Additionally, what I'm going for would be something similar to the barrel texture in MCC, if you know what I'm talking about. Where instead of a black rim, it's something like a silver one. Kind of like that. Well, firstly, I want to go ahead and, like last time, make a color that I like. Go ahead and get rid of all these other colors, because I prefer to do my shade tones. I prefer to do the shade tones myself. Put it like that. Putting it in tiled mode is something that can help to give an idea of what it would look like as a full texture. I'm finding this to be a little too red. So I'll just keep tweaking the colors to find something that I like. Personally, I like this one better than some of the others, so for now, I'm gonna stick with it. One key is to not think too much on how you want something to look. Try to make it look a little bit random. That way it will look more organic and less inorganic. I think I'm going to go ahead and take a little inspiration off what I did for the hay bale. Something a little similar to this. Like a mix between the hay bale and the cartography table I did yesterday. That's what I'm aiming for. A way to find something that you like in a texture is to just experiment. If you have an idea, place highlights in it and see if it works. If it does, keep it. If it doesn't, redo and try something else. Okay, I'm liking how this looks so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the metal portion. As I've said before, always either just roll your seat back to see how it looks, or just zoom way out. Okay, I just noticed that in the barrel texture, the rim right here is off kilter. The thing that is bugging me would be the amount of empty space there is. I'm kind of liking how that looks, but But I do want to adjust contrast more to make sure that highlight stands out nice and bold. When it comes to doing this, I am a little bit of a perfectionist. So I want to get it right or it's not happening. I think this is at a point that I like, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. I'm going to go ahead and save it, then move on to the next part. Not only that, but it does kind of blend in with the cartography table. Alright, next up I'm going to go ahead and do the top. Put this here, copy this over, boom, and let's begin. Okay, it has a rim around this, and instead of making the barrel opening round, I'm gonna go ahead and make it square. This is a way to make it look more unique from the rest of the texture. Can't speak right now. This will make it look more unique from the vanilla textures. As I said before, I keep checking back at my block sheet as a style guide of sorts. This helps me keep the shading techniques to be more consistent with one another. For example, these points right here are not consistent with my own style guide, so I'm redoing them. I do like how this looks, but it's not consistent. So I'm just gonna change it up. Up. And that looks a little more consistent. Though this does look nice, it's not consistent in lighting. Alright, the top's done. Another piece of advice, trust your own judgment. If you're not too sure if something does look good in your eyes, you can always ask for feedback. It never hurts to ask for help. You know what? I think this is I'm not a huge fan of this right now, so I'm gonna change it. Again. I always end up making last-minute adjustments like this. So, behind the scenes moment for me, things like that are normal for me. I always make changes right after I'm quote-unquote done. Alright, that part's done. I'm gonna go ahead and make the open variation. Make a new layer in case I make an oopsie. Another word of advice, and one reason I keep the sheet is that it works like a backup. In case something happens where you accidentally save over a file, you have this as a backup to use. Where I can just select this, or I can just select one of these, copy it, and bring it over to its original file. All that's left for the barrel now would be the bottom. I'm just gonna go ahead and be lazy. I'm gonna copy over the spruce texture. Wherever it is. There we go. Another tip from me, sometimes taking shortcuts will help you. So don't think it's considered lazy, as I put it, to take shortcuts like this. Especially since bottom textures, as I said, are less important. With that, I have the barrel texture and the ender chest. All that's left now would be the bookshelf. I'm gonna take another quick break, then I'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. The last block I'm gonna do for this video would be the bookshelf. Even though the bookshelf only has one color, I'm gonna be doing 3 different variations, and add block states so that those variations appear in game. The first thing I'm gonna do is find the oak planks, because bookshelves use the oak planks as their top texture. Copy over the palette. I may also want to use the new chiseled bookshelf as a reference as well. First things first, get something like this to surround it. I'm gonna go into tiled mode. Alright, now I need to pick a color that I want for the inside. This is an interesting color, but remove saturation and a little redness. And put it like that for the base of the actual bookshelf. I'll do a separate layer for the books themselves, but for now I'm going to just focus on the inside. I want to make sure this remains consistent, and to make sure it looks like wood without straying too far from the style I'm going for. Alright, I think this is looking good. Now I just need to get the inside. There. Now I have a base texture for the bookshelf itself. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on making the actual books. For now, I'm gonna start with red, blue, and green, as well as a little bit of gold in it. Oopsie. I have to make sure that these colors stand out enough without sticking out like a sore thumb. The color needs to be a perfect median. I'm gonna go for a more full bookshelf than one that has a lot of empty space. I want to make sure that there's enough variance in the textures to make sure that the colors seem random and it's not just like red, blue, green, red, blue, green. I'm making the order feel a little more random. Alright, I'm happy with how that looks. Now I'm going to go ahead and add shading as well as that sticker on the book. I don't remember what those things are called. Give it a nice gold color that will look good on all 3 colors. think that looks good. I'll go ahead and make some final tweaks to the palette. Alright, I think that looks good, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this first bookshelf. Alright, instead of just doing one bookshelf texture, I'm doing 3 to add a little more variation every time a player places a block. So first I'm going to go ahead and start all over. Oh, I just had an idea for how I can improve how it looks. I'm going to make this a little dimmer and make a darker color. And put it right here to add just a little extra contrast. I think that looks good, but I put it on layer 2. That's supposed to go on layer 1. That'll look a little similar to the first. Go ahead and add in the textures, but I'm gonna make sure that it still fits with the... It still has to look a lot like the first one. Otherwise it'll be incohesive. So I'm using the exact same shading techniques I used in the first. That's the second bookshelf. And now to start work on the third. Just like last time, clear all of this out and start again. This will help to make the bookshelves feel less repetitive and look more contrasting. I'm satisfied with that, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the labels on and shade. Alright, and that's the third texture. Uh-oh. I accidentally saved this as bookshelf 2. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and save. And with that, that's the last of the textures. The 3 unique bookshelf textures, a barrel, and the ender chest. With that, that's it for today's video. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!